Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Hard Not Life Sailing. Today we get to enhance both the functionality and the aesthetics of our knot life. From installing new davits to giving our anchor chain a fresh coat of paint, we also are relocating the mizzen mast aft stay and install the anode on our bow thruster, as well as replacement of our stern seats for those leisure days at sea. Plus, we get to use the space above our newly built davits and install a solar panel to keep us cruising sustainably. Enjoy this video.
In case you're new to sailing, I like to paint every 5 meters of my chain with a color code. That way when you're letting the chain out or letting the anchor down, you know exactly how much chain is out. You like to put, normally it's 5-to-1 ratio, so if you're 1 meter deep, you're putting 5 meters of chain out. So I mark off, I paint every 5 meters of our chain with a different color code, then I know exactly how much is out. And also what I'm doing this time is reversing the ends of our chain. So this is the part that was attached to the boat with a long rope, as you can see there. That's for when you're in very deep water. I can't pull this rope out, so I'm going to go ahead and get an angle grinder and cut that last link off, and then I'm going to weave the new rope through multiple links instead of this everything through one link, because I don't even know how they got that rope in there. Maybe when it was new it was a little bit looser, but that seems very tight. I can't even pull the old one out. Perhaps it's just the rust in there, I don't know. So I've already laid this out in 2.5 meter increments. That way every fold is 5 meters. Then I'm gonna be taking the D-link or D-cleat off of the anchor. I'm gonna be attaching it on this end and then attaching the rope where the D-link is. That's about it. Just wanted to explain it, pretty self-explanatory, but just one of the things you do here, yearly or bi-yearly maintenance. Okay, and now the chain is all painted up. Got quite a few coats on there. What I'm going to do now is splice our rope here to the opposite end of the chain that it was before. So if you don't know how to do it, just go online. There's lots of tutorials and step-by-steps. I'm doing it myself from a tutorial. I don't know exactly how to splice. I know the basics. You bring this back about 20 loops, and we're going to be bringing this around and then weaving these through each one of these. Don't know all the terms here. It's not something you do every day. So that's what I'm going to be doing now and getting this anchor brought up. Alright, there's my splice. It's not beautiful, but it is an old rope and it, to me, looks spliced correctly. I'm going to hoist that up. Before I did not have a safety wire on this, but the welding rods here are stainless steel that they're using on our davits. I'm going to use a piece of that and tie this off and get this hoisted up and put away. One of the great things about having this windlass controller is I can control it from down here, turning a 2-person job into a 1-person job. Shackle this up, put a safety line on there, and this job is done. There we go. Separate stainless steel wires on there. These are actually welding wires, so they're pretty strong. 3/16 stainless. I'm not worried about them coming apart. That was a short clip of the riggers. I went to talk to the riggers in the next marina over this morning, and they immediately came over to take off our backstays. What we're doing is shortening them. It's maybe like 16 or 18 inches. We have to shorten them because what we had before, a running backstay. So this is where our backstay connected to the deck with this tackle block and tackle, I guess. And while you're tacking, you'd have to come back here and loosen off one side and then tighten up the other side. You'd always have to come back on the deck, shifting them side to side every time you tack. And it puts a lot of extra strain on the deck, mostly because our main mast is connected to the deck here, and it's actually deforming the plastic or the fiberglass from years of pulling hard on. So I'm trying to take some weight off of here, and we're bringing it up onto the davits. So this is where the mizzen aft stay now will connect, and that way it's totally out of the way of the mizzen. This is our mizzen boom. And you can see it passes in front of it, so we can have the stays up all the time without it interfering with our boom. And also, as an added bonus, when the dinghy's up, the stays actually will take some of the load off of the davits. So when the davits are being pulled down from the dinghy, they're also being pulled up by the mizzen mast. So it's kind of an added bonus. They're just about done with these davits now. We just have to secure that support, and I'm hoping that they're gonna clean up a weld down there that they've had to modify the weld a few times to get the angle just right. So it looks a little rough, but everything else is looking great. But that's after they're done with their holidays, which is a 2-week vacation right now. So hopefully they'll be done before I'm done, because we've been here for a while. Gonna go back down and do some sanding. I'll show you what that deck looks like. Oh, and having these stairs are awesome. You pay a little extra for them, but it's so much easier than climbing up and down a ladder carrying things. So another relatively quick job I'm going to be doing here is the anode on our bow thruster. This is our bow thruster. It pushes the front of the boat port or stern if we need to maneuver in an area. We don't use it much because we don't go to docks, but it's nice to have if we find ourselves in the need of one. And the anode for it was not available in this country, and we were very fortunate to have a friend Ken next door on Loon. So if you're listening to this, thank you, Ken. He picked up these anodes. They're a very unusual shape. I wouldn't have been able to makeshift one. The one that was on here was completely deteriorated, so now I just got the job of cleaning up around here and bolting this on and assembling it. There's nowhere to put a camera here, but I just wanted to show that as one of the quick jobs that we're doing here amongst the hundreds of others. All right, our davits now are almost 100% complete. I've got a couple planks up there. That's just so they can reach up for doing the welding and polishing, because this giant solar frame had to get attached on site. So you had to reach to the end of that, and you can see that's a long way down. Now that I have that complete, another thing I want to address, these are our stern seats. This one here you can see is broken. It looked more like that before. So our stern seats had this big groove cut out of it, and that was for our running backstay, which connected here and held the top of our mizzen, and that held the mizzen upright so it can't fall forward. With the running backstay, meant every time we tack, I had to come up here on the deck and loosen off one side and tighten the other side. I had a block and tackle on it so I can tighten it and loosen it. Now with this new davit system, we added our backstay up here on the davit. See, now that runs up to the mizzen, and this way when our boom swings back and forth, as you can see here, it clears it. So now we no longer have to come up here and make adjustments every time we tack. It also gets the strain off of the fiberglass on the back, because that was one design flaw of Wauquiez, and the only one I'm aware of, is that they put a lot of strain on this corner of the deck, because our main standing rigging, which is right here, connects to the fiberglass right behind the chine. You can see that's deformed the fiberglass, so it's actually bulged there. What a lot of people do is add an external chain plate back here on the hull, and in the future we might do that when we re-rig this, but for the meantime we've added the support to the davit here. That's this post here, and that's connected to the mizzen stay. That's actually going to be pushing down on it. So this is kind of just a balancing to keep it from going forward or backwards, because when you dinghy's on there, it's going to be pulling down, so there'll be a pulling effect, but the mizzen's also pulling up on it, so everything should pretty much balance itself out for the most part. So which brings me back to today, because these seats are in such bad shape. You can see them The splines have all fallen apart over the years. They've added pieces of wood on the bottom. What I think they did wrong here is when they did the splines holding these wood together, they had cut a groove in here to make the seam obvious, but that decreases the strength of the wood quite a bit. So all the connecting force is really relying on that spline and not any kind of wood glue in between. So we had our new planks made because they can only get like 9-inch boards here. We had a 2 board spline together. The spline has a long end and a short end, so I situate the new seat over top of this, but this is actually a little bit bigger, and I think we're going to utilize that and make our seats just a little bit bigger so they're a little bit more comfortable, because this is definitely a nice spot to sit. So that's what I'm going to be working on now. Alright, now that I've sharpened that up with the grinder, it was really dull, and carry on. Alright, we're going to take a short little break here. It's raining again. Protect those tools. Alright, we're going to continue on again as long as the rain permits. Everything's a little wet now, but I should be able to still draw a line on there. Hey, there's our new seat. Oop, hit the boom. That's going to be bolted down, but first I'm going to copy that onto the other side. Full on rain again. Got one of them with the bolts through, and now I'm gonna go take shelter. Bring some power tools back inside. All right, I'm back out here again.
Wow, that looks good.
I've been out here for 2 minutes and it starts raining again. This is life in Trinidad. I stopped, had lunch, it stopped raining. It's so hot that all the wood dried up and pretty quickly. And as soon as I come out here, it starts raining again. Can't win. So I'm just gonna keep working here in the rain because I gotta get this done. I'm gonna show you what I'm doing here. These bolts are extra long. I'm gonna cut them off. That was the plan. This is the only size they have. I'm gonna be putting these lock nuts on with a washer. So what I'm doing is I'm putting on a temporary nut with 3 washers, because this temporary nut is smaller, you can see, than the lock nut. So I'm putting this temporary nut on with 3 washers. That way, after I cut it off, the threads will realign themselves, because when you cut them off, you always damage threads. So this way the nut will realign the threads coming off, and then I'll be able to get the new nut on. All right, another short break in the rain. Hopefully it's gonna let me finish this. One down. So I'm gonna just keep repeating that.
Hey, where's your crescent wrench?
Oh, Denise, what's up?
Ta-da! Mike did an amazing job. We didn't know we were gonna be able to fix the seats. Instead, we got new seats.
You can't help yourself because the teak is so cheap here.
We're gonna have a better view with better seats.
Alright, so we're hooking up the solar panel now. I just want to quickly show what I'm doing. I'm using 1/4-inch bolts that are 1 inch long, so they just almost fit inside here, but once the hole's there I can hook it in. On top of this bolt, I'm putting first a stainless steel washer and then a vinyl washer so that there's no contact with the stainless steel to the aluminum, which will corrode quickly through electrolysis. So it'll be vinyl contact to the aluminum, and then in between the stainless and the aluminum here I'm also going to be putting an additional vinyl washer. That will be the tricky part to fit in there. I'll be putting all of these on quite loosely to start. Ooh, take my clamp off. There we go. And then now I can just put a regular washer. I'm using vinyl nuts, like locking nuts, or vinyl nuts, just so I don't have to put lock washers in there. And that's how it's going to go together. I gotta do this 7 more times and then tighten them all up. The awkwardness of it is that we're high over the ground, so I'm going to be doing it on this scaffold laying down. Alright, so just a quick show of how I put the hardware on with vinyl bushings in between so there's no mixed metals. It's all bolted down now. I got cardboard on it right now just for this installation, but I'm going to be pulling that off and putting down this tarp over it. So I don't want it powering up while it's sitting here. Once I have the wires all connected, then I'll remove the tarp and it'll be active. But I don't want to have that charge in it while it's laying dormant until we get the hard top on, and then we're going to wire all the solar panels together. Well, in separate leads, but all at once. We invite you to stay tuned for more updates on our ongoing projects. The beauty of sailing is not just the destinations we reach, but there's a lot of boat projects involved to sustain the lifestyle. There's plenty more excitement as we continue to discover unexpected projects along the way. So whether it's servicing our rigging...
Wait, what? I thought we were done with the boat projects.
Yeah, I wanted to inspect our rigging, but now because of the holiday holdups, there's no better time. Fortunate or not, we found some big safety concerns that we have to deal with immediately. Stay tuned to see what we're dealing with, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with your friends, and we'll see you next week.